Welcome back. I'd like to thank CLee for stopping by. We have an election special today, you know what I'm saying? CLee, man, we got something coming up big, Tuesday the 7th. The ballots, as we were just talking about, have to be in the mail by the 7th, or you can go in person and vote in person if you want. I don't know. There's a million different locations across the Bay Area.
Okay.
But the most important thing that we wanted to bring up was that, you know, a lot of people are convinced that the elections are in November.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? We get kind of the store-bought candidates, you know, the filtering process is right now, you know what I mean, in the primaries.
So right now, what are people voting on? Is it this local elections? Is this like, what is going on exactly right now?
That's a great question. So it's kind of important to your area, you know what I mean? For example, I believe in the East Bay, we got candidates like a couple city council members, you know, Oakland, Hayward, Fremont. You have state senators, you know, you have assembly men and women candidates. And I think if you're passionate about justice, you have district attorneys who do the prosecuting.
So these elections that are coming up are the elections that directly affect the people, the laws.
Those are the everyday issues.
The everyday single people. So this ain't the president or vice.
Man, CLee, preach it. That's exactly just it. You know, a lot of times people get lost in the presidential election headlights, the big lights, and they think that, you know, which it does affect your life, but the local elections, that determines your policing, your schooling, you know, everything, you know, the homeless
funding,
issues.
jobs.
Oh my God, everything. It is so important, you know, and like I said, it's kind of crazy because everybody's convinced, you know, that it is the in November, which is important to vote, but it's actually all year that you have to be familiar with this process.
And hold on, in order to vote, what do they educate about the ballot? So, you know, because I want people to understand this who ain't probably never voted ever. I want to get it to them. So what is the ballot for? What do they have to do to get to that ballot, mail it in, turn it in? Can you break that down for us?
When it comes to ballots, you have to be registered, but if you're not registered to receive your ballot in the mail, the 7th, you can go to one of your local polling stations. You can check out the link right there. Go to your local polling stations and you can vote in person.
Okay. So basically you got to register to vote. And then after you register, you get your ballot. And then when you get your ballot, you send your ballot in.
Exactly. So if you register to vote, you'll get a ballot in the mail.
Got you.
Basically making it easy so you don't have to go in person. You know what I'm saying? You could drop it off at one of the little ballot spots, right? But if you didn't register, you didn't get your ballot in the mail, not to worry. The 7th, go down to one of your local polling sites. You can vote in person the old-fashioned way. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. After the 7th, I'm going to be honest, the corporations are going to kind of decide, you know, who we're going to elect for.
You say that a lot. What do you mean by the corporations? How do they come in and make decisions as far as laws and policies go?
Okay, for example, you know, a lot of right now for a candidate to really have a chance, they need what's called mailers or door knockers. You know what I mean? People that, you know, put those little flyers on every single person's door.
Okay.
Well, depending on what it is, those packages start at like $60,000. You know what I mean, per area. So if you're a grassroots person, if you're a single mom trying to make a difference, how are you competing with someone that has like a $600,000, you know, treasury?
So hold on. So you basically saying these corporations, they come in, they fund these candidates, and then these candidates do what's necessary for the corporation to continue to thrive.
You know, and let's be honest, some candidates come in there and they turn their back to these super PACs. They're good people. Okay. Some candidates come in, they're, you know what I mean? You can't say everything always, you know what I mean? You'll have some good candidates that are backed and they grow a conscience when they get in there. Unfortunately, that's not the majority.
But it's possible to combat that, just getting more people to utilize their vote.
Man, that's exactly what it is. That is exactly.
If you can wake people up to utilize their vote. So if people go out there and utilize their vote, then it'll help gentrification. It'll help laws. It'll help programs and jobs and things of that nature if we get the right people in there who we trust, and then they can make the necessary changes.
You know, we had a great candidate come in. Her name was Pamela Price, who said, really what you're paying for is the message. You know, if people, you know, she's spending all this money.
That's who's running for DA, right?
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? She's spending all this money, you know what I mean? Really more than anything to get people to hear her message. And a lot of these people, when you see the message itself, you're like, ooh, that's either good or that's kind of foul.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's that, can you get that message to every person's door? And I think like my wife was saying earlier, about 8% of ballots have been turned in right now.
Oh, wow.
That's not even a good F.
That's like not even showing up.
That's not even a good.
That's truancy. You know what I'm saying? That's criminal.
8% right now. Think about that. 8% of the population is going to dictate who we're gonna vote for in November.
I don't know why that just sizzled in my spirit like that, but we complain a lot about a lot of things, but now it's our time to show up. And with 8%, we're not showing up. So essentially, if you want, it's offensive. If you actually want change, if you actually want to see things move, laws, if you actually want to be comfortable in the area where you grew up, you're gonna have to show up in times like this, because that is criminal. That's not good. 8%.